Historians have described the last few presidents as the least memorable, but definitely not this man. His enduring legacy is primarily rooted in his monumental efforts to abolish slavery. Unfortunately, Lincoln's presidency was cut short when he became the first president to be assassinated. He was the first Republican president ever and still remains the tallest president in history at 6 feet 4 inches. In 1867, Congress passed an act prohibiting the president from removing appointed officials. Despite the act, Johnson famously removed his Secretary of War the following year. Because of this, the House of Representatives voted to impeach him, making him the first president ever to be impeached. Ulysses S. Grant's most notable achievement was his determined efforts to suppress the Ku Klux Klan. In 1871, he signed the Enforcement Act, which granted the federal government authority to declare martial law and prosecute involved criminals. Rutherford B. Hayes's election was intensely disputed. Hayes, the Republican candidate, and Samuel J. Tilden, the Democratic candidate, both claimed victory. The situation led to the Compromise of 1877, in which Hayes was declared the winner in exchange for concessions to the Democrats. James A. Garfield was the second U.S. president to be assassinated. While preparing to board a train in Washington, D.C., Garfield was shot twice by a disgruntled office seeker who believed the president owed him a government position. Garfield's injuries proved fatal, but it was not the gunshot wounds that caused his death. Rather, it was the inadequate and unhygienic medical treatment he received. Chester A. Arthur was known for his keen fashion sense. He took great care in his appearance and was often praised for his impeccable suits. He had a personal valet and owned more than 100 pairs of pants. Not a lot by today's standards, but quite the extravagance back then. Grover Cleveland, or Big Steve, was overweight, weighing a massive 275 pounds. He was heavily addicted to smoking cigars and drinking far too much beer. Benjamin Harrison was the grandson of the 9th president, William Henry Harrison, making them the only grandfather-grandson duo. Benjamin was the first president to have electricity in the White House. He was so nervous about the new invention that he hired a specific servant to turn on the lights. Big Steve makes a return. He is the only U.S. president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms in office. William McKinley was the 3rd president to be assassinated. He was killed by an anarchist while attending an exhibition in New York City. The shooter had wrapped a handkerchief around his right hand to conceal the weapon and approached the president for a handshake. When McKinley extended his hand, the man fired 2 shots, killing the president. The shooter was annoyed with McKinley's capitalist policies, which he believed favored the elite over the working class. With the assassination of President William McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt took his place and became the youngest president in the nation's history at age 42. Just like his predecessor, he too was shot while delivering a speech, but fortunately survived. The only president bigger than Big Steve himself was President William Howard Taft, who weighed in at a whopping 330 pounds. Taft was also the first to upgrade the White House fleet from horse-drawn carriages to motor vehicles. A sigh of relief for the poor horses. Woodrow Wilson was the only U.S. president to have held a Ph.D. He is best known for his crucial role in the negotiations that ended World War I. He proposed his famous 14 points, a set of principles for post-war peace, including the establishment of the League of Nations. A controversial president, Warren G. Harding is truly only remembered for sneakily appointing his friends to official positions, which they unfortunately used for their own enrichment. Coolidge was popular for, well, doing nothing. He's quoted as saying that he spent much of his presidency avoiding the big problems. Known for his quiet personality, he was given the nickname Silent Cal. Herbert and his wife both spoke Chinese. They frequently spoke Chinese whenever they wanted a private conversation in the White House. Herbert was also very, very rich, amassing more than $100 million over his full career as a mining engineer and expert. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you like it.